Welcome back to the Vandy Sports Podcast. I'm Joey Dwyer here after Vanderbilt's 69-56 loss at Oxford to Ole Miss. Ole Miss moves to 15-1. Vanderbilt moves to 5-11, 0-3 in the league. And Vanderbilt was in this one for a little bit. Actually, it was a little more competitive than I expected. Still didn't cover the spread, and I think the difference was three major statistical categories, which I won't often do, but it was such a discrepancy in these three categories. First of all, Vanderbilt had far too many scoring droughts. Ended the game not on a scoring drought, but one of their last 10 field goals went in. Over their last 7 field goals, I think 2 scoring droughts over 3 minutes in the final 10 minutes. So that's 6 minutes where you don't score at least. And then 3-point discrepancy. Vanderbilt went 4 of 18, 22% from 3. Ole Miss went 10 for 25, 40%. Ole Miss went 73% from the line. Vandy went 60% from the line. And offensive rebounding was the other stat I wanted to mention. Vanderbilt got 9, but Ole Miss had 12 for 13 second chance points. Really difficult to win like that. And Jerry Stackhouse earlier in the week, and I believe on the radio as well, I got to find that clip, mentioned that Ole Miss can do some things in the portal that Vanderbilt can't. And I think there's some validity to that, but Vanderbilt also, I think, used NIL more than it has in the past this offseason. There's just such a talent gap still, though. You look at all the guys Ole Miss is trotting out on the floor, the depth they have. Vanderbilt doesn't have that, and it was pretty evident to me that Vanderbilt didn't have that through its scoring droughts today. When it was in a scoring drought, and there was a few of them in the first half too, it wasn't just the second half, they don't have an out pitch. And Billy mentioned that a few rapid reactions back, I think it was Boston College, and he was ahead of the curve there. Vanderbilt doesn't have a Liam Robbins to throw it down to in the post. They don't have a Scottie Pippen Jr. to ISO. It just feels like they don't have, again, an out pitch. They don't have a safety blanket like they did last year, like they did the year before, or even the year before that. And I think that's a huge issue for this team. And add it to the list. I think Vanderbilt's defense is really an issue. And 69 points isn't terrible, but they just can't guard the line. And you're not going to win games like that on the road against SEC teams if you can't guard the line. And we saw it today. Ole Miss is a really good three-point shooting team, the 7th best in the country in Ken Palm. But Vanderbilt's defense, I think, tells its own story. It's not a good combination, but Vanderbilt was 344th in three-point defense heading into today. That tells a story, and it's not just about Ole Miss. I want to talk more about the Wash House, our presenting sponsor for basketball season, before we get into the rest of it. Are you dreading laundry days? It's stealing time to do the things you truly enjoy? Let the Wash House and the laundry professionals there take care of that for you with 2 convenient locations in the greater Nashville area. Just drop off your dirty laundry, and our professional attendants can give you back the one thing you can never have enough of, which is your time. Within 24 hours, you can pick up your nicely folded, fresh and clean laundry ready to be put away. Check out www.washhouseclean.com. Stop in today and get your time back. I'm getting better at that read. We're moving forward. I'm almost to the point where I don't have to have it on the screen to read it, but that's besides the point. I think another thing I noticed today, Vanderbilt was really outmanned in the front court. Musa Cisse only had 9 points, but was 3 for 3 from the field, 3 for 4 from the free throw line. He wasn't all that good, but Jamarion Sharp really impressed me. He had 0 points, but had 8 rebounds, 3 blocks, and both of them altered a few shots as well around the rim. And Billy and I mentioned a lot in the preseason that Vanderbilt just didn't have the height down there, and especially without Lee Dort now, they just don't have the bodies to compete with guys like that. And those aren't guys that are going to make huge offensive impacts, but they don't need to if Ole Miss is making 10 threes at a 40% clip, and they have Allen Flanagan going. Matthew Morrell has probably his best game of the season. Again, here's my thing with this. Vanderbilt isn't just getting unlucky with the way it's defending or anything of the sort. It's just that there's a talent gap, and Vanderbilt's got to play dang near perfect to win it. And win games like this, can't do that when you shoot 22% from 3. They didn't turn it over as much today, which I thought was a good thing, where they only turn it over 9 times. They turned it over 10 times. One of those might have been the end of the game, though. A 10-10 assist to turnover, 1-1. Not terrible, but then you look at the other end, 18-8 assist to turnover. I mean, pick your statistical category, and Ole Miss won it. Pick the talent level, pick the position, Ole Miss won it. And I think it's just deeper than this game. There's a lot going on here. I don't know that their culture is great, but also their talent isn't great. So there's just a lot happening here, and I don't know that I see the turnaround anywhere near what it was last year. If they win another game or two, I think that might be what it is. I just look at the rest of their schedule in the upcoming week or so, and after this, they play against Auburn, who's ranked 16th in the nation, has a dominant big man in Janai Broom, and they don't even really have a star, but they have a lot of guys who are better than Vanderbilt's best players, probably. Mississippi State, they have to go to Starkville next weekend. Hard to win there. Tennessee just lost there. You mentioned Tennessee, but Tennessee comes from Memorial after that. So that's 2 ranked teams and a team who doesn't lose often at home. And then you play Auburn again in Auburn. So that's 4 games that I would expect to be losses. Vandy probably is 0-7 at that point in SEC play. And you can talk like this, and it doesn't always necessarily end that way. Last year I thought they'd probably go on a losing streak, but then they beat Ole Miss, they beat Tennessee. Mizzou, I think, is the next winnable game on the schedule. That's at Memorial. But again, then you get Kentucky, then you get South Carolina. I think South Carolina is beatable. Texas A&M, probably going to be a really difficult team to beat. Then you get Tennessee. Georgia looked really good today against Tennessee. They're after Tennessee. It gets a little easier at the end with Arkansas, LSU, and Florida being 3 of the last 4. But again, hope is waning here, and it has been for a while. But you just see today, and you see the talent differential, and that's not even one of the most talented teams in the league, in my opinion. I think they have good transfers. I think they have good old guys, but there's just a talent gap, and it's easy to see. I think Stack can complain about it all he wants, but they've got to recruit better. Out of high school, I think they have one guy who's really made a significant impact out of high school this year, Rivera Torres. Last year's class, I think, will maybe disqualify from the discussion a little bit because Colin Smith's been hurt, but Paul Lewis didn't get in the game today. Lee Dort's obviously suspended. I mean, it's just they're not getting enough from their high school classes. Carter Lang didn't check in the game today. Again, another thing too, rotation and consistency, I think tells you a lot about this team. It's pretty typical for a Stackhouse team to have that, but just, I mean, they've started 12 guys this year, and Jason Rivera-Torres is not one of those guys. Jason Rivera-Torres is a good player, makes mistakes, sure, but so does Malik Presley, so does J.Q. Roberts. They've started 12 guys this season, and it's unreal. It's just the rotation's so inconsistent. J.Q. Roberts was playing, at the end of this game, so was Malik Presley, and those guys hadn't played really at all in the second half for most of the season. It seems like they're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks, and that's kind of what you have to do at this point of a season like this with this kind of talent differential. But only so much I can say that doesn't sound like repeating myself. If you want to find some good today, Tyron Lawrence seems to be getting better, and I think the path for Vanderbilt is him being an X factor and kind of taking over a game or two here or there. Rivera Torres, again, really good, made a really tough shot. Still, defensive issues. I think he got blown by Morrell at one point. I'm sure there was more stuff that I didn't quite see. But, again, those are good things. Turnovers were better today. They actually offensive rebounded it okay. Lubin's a fighter, man, but he's their only real true big besides Carter Lang, and Lang didn't get in the game today. So they're just overmatched in a lot of ways, and I think will continue to be for the next 2 or so weeks until they play Mizzou. And I think Mizzou is probably worse than most people do, but Vanderbilt's still probably the worst team in the league right now. That's just kind of where we're at. Stack, I think, is fighting an uphill battle, but he could also be doing a much better job in his role, and a lot of people could be doing a better job in their role. You don't get to that point or this point without it. And again, they can say what they want about NIL and portal and such. I actually think that took a step forward. I don't know the full extent of how much it took a step forward, but there's definitely a difference, but I don't know if the difference should be this big. And right now, that's where it's at. If you want some alternative basketball to watch today, Lipscomb plays Austin Peay, 2 top 5 teams in the ASUN probably. Indiana State plays Belmont as well. So good mid-major slate for Nashville today, but Vanderbilt falls to Ole Miss and falls to 0-3 in the SEC as it looks down a gauntlet of a 2-week stretch. Thank you guys for watching. God bless. And I will be back at Memorial with Billy this week to talk about Auburn. So thank you guys for watching. Peace.